Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zack Brown, and joining with me, as always, former 410 Sprint Car crew chief and mechanic, my dad, Jeff Brown. Dad, a lot to go over from NASCAR and the Outlaws, but even more to preview coming up this week. Obviously, got a trivia question once again towards the end, and we got to update our power rankings and give the fantasy for NASCAR. And just a heads up, I am now winning, and actually, I'm only 44,000th in the world, so I am moving up the chain right now. So, without further ado, let's go over the action we saw at Richmond, covering the big series. NASCAR Cup Series came down to a final restart where Denny Hamlin came off of pit road and prevailed over Martin Truex Jr., who was probably the fastest car all day.
Yep.
And Truex was not the happiest camper at the end of the race, and I don't really understand how he was that mad. Denny didn't wreck him; he just ran him up the track. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You're going for a win, and I'm by no means a Denny Hamlin fan, but Denny's got to do what he's got to do to win a race. He didn't bump Truex out of the way. He didn't spin him out. He raced him aggressively. You're going for a win. You've got to do that.
I think he's more mad. He's saying Denny jumped the restart. And NASCAR even came out and said, I think it was yesterday on Tuesday, they said if that restart would have been early in the race, yes, it would have been a penalty. But they said late race, they weren't going to call a penalty on that one.
Well, the thing to now see is NASCAR going to stay consistent with that ruling from now on if it's other drivers. And I saw Joey Logano on NASCAR Sirius XM, and he was saying that, yeah, are we going to be in that position again? If I'm leading and I jump it just like that, are they going to penalize me or are they going to stay consistent? Because if you have one ruling, now you can't go back on what is going to be done until at least till the end of the year. You've got to stay consistent. Right. Now, this is what you chose. And I did see kind of NASCAR's explanation, if you will. The second row was coming up onto Denny, rolling up on him. Denny basically had no choice but to start gassing it right before the restart line. And I guess I get it, and I get their explanation. And honestly, I'm not really upset with the restart. I didn't even really notice it at live timing anyways. Truex was able to stay door to door with Denny regardless, and he just lost the race. That's really what it came down to. And then you got Kyle Larson, who gets spun out by Bubba, and somehow it ends up being a good thing for him and ends up getting third in the race. So I don't even understand how all that happened. But a lot of drama, a lot of craziness at Richmond. I like it, Richmond being nighttime, but Sunday night on Easter, I don't like it specifically being Sunday night on Easter. I don't really mind the Easter races. There's games, there's golf tournaments, there's whatever. I still would prefer it Saturday night, though.
Well, if you notice, there was about 300 people in the stands for, I realized the weather was bad, but still, if you bought the ticket, you're going to go to that race. And that place wasn't maybe 25% full. It was, for a Richmond race, it was ridiculous. And to be quite honest, the racing sucked. NASCAR, I hate to say it, they need more of these phantom debris cautions. Cautions make the racing much better. To a point, you get real ridiculous, and then then it's just stupid after that. But the best racing's 5 or 6 laps after a restart.
Yeah, and there was tire fall off, and that was actually the exciting thing if people kind of strategize it. And I think you called it, and we can kind of transition right to it. The Xfinity race was a lot more exciting than the Cup race overall. Yeah. There was a few different drivers that could have won that. Mainly were all Toyotas and Joe Gibbs. Chandler Smith gets another win. He's having a big year, and he was a good driver when he raced in the Chevys last year. And now he's got the Joe Gibbs cars in Xfinity are just tremendously faster than pretty much every other car. Junior Motorsports is right up there with them too, especially on the bigger tracks. But these smaller speedways, the Xfinity, they've got it going right now.
Yeah, for sure. That's like it doesn't matter who jumps in that car. Like Eric Almirola, he was in one of the Joe Gibbs cars. He was fast. It seems like it doesn't matter who's in it. Those cars are just super, super fast.
Yeah, they got something definitely figured out. Like I said, especially on the shorter tracks. And we'll go over the short track that's behind you later on in the show. Probably one of my favorite short tracks around. But that pretty much sums up NASCAR. A lot of drama at Richmond. More or less, and we'll see what kind of retaliation happens here at Martinsville. That'll be interesting, because a lot of tempers are flaring right now. So heading into the world. Oh, sorry, you got something?
Yeah, I was going to say, and this is going to be one of those tracks. They're going to test that restart rule in this one, because this could be a huge advantage at Martinsville if you get a bit of a jump, and can, because you got to be on the bottom and you get that jump. So we're going to see. This is going to be. I think NASCAR opened up can of worms there on that one.
Yep. Well, breaking away from NASCAR, heading to our dirt racing segment this week. Starting off with the World of Outlaws to recap their race that they had last week. Thunderbird Speedway unfortunately had to cancel due to high winds, so poor weather there. But the second night, 81 Speedway, Rico Abreu dominated the night, so it was really a battle for second place, and what a battle it really was throughout the race. Donnie Schatz goes from 12th to 3rd, and Hodenshield goes from 13th to 4th, so those two were hauling. If there was another restart, they likely would have, or even maybe about 5 more laps, they probably would have been mixing it up for the win.
Yeah. I mean, Rico led every lap, but at no means I would say did he really dominate. He was just kind of right in front of the leaders, or for the second, third, fourth place. If they weren't battling so hard and got strung out, they might have ran him down. But lucky for him, they were battling, and he made no mistakes through the lap cars. So, congrats to him. There's another high limit racer taking an outlaw win, but that's 9 races and 9 different winners.
Yeah, that's World of Outlaw history now, so it's absolutely incredible to see. We'll see if they can make it 10 and 11 going into this week. Let's preview the 2 races they've got this week. Hopefully, we finally get back-to-back races. It seems like we're having some bad weather the last couple weeks with one of the shows at the very least. So, Friday night, you got the Wildcat Showdown at US 36 Raceway. Talk about this one.
Yeah. They didn't say what size it is. They just called it a bull ring. So it's going to be, I'm going to say it's a small quarter mile. It's in Osborne, Missouri. The track record is 9.846 seconds, set in 2006 by Paul McMahon. Now, I said this last week. I was like, wow, it's been 20 years since the track record broke. They broke it last week.
Yeah.
So what?
Shout out to Carson Macedo on that one.
Yep. So, would not surprise me if the track record gets broken again. So this is going to be one of those tight races. You're going to be hurting feelings. You're going to be banging each other. You're going to have to dive it in. 8 wheels stick better than 4. It's going to be rough getting through lap traffic. It's going to be. These are awesome, and I think if I read it correctly, they're also going to have a midget series there, which the midgets are going to be great on that track too. I'd actually like to see the midget race as well.
Yeah, that'd be an exciting doubleheader to definitely check out. The defending winner at that track is Sheldon Hodenshield, and it looks like they race at this racetrack every year. It looks like one of their traditional tracks that they go to, and it seems to be putting on pretty good races. And the last one I checked out, it was pretty exciting. So let's dive into our pick for US 36 then at the Wildcat Showdown. Who you got on this one?
Makes it 2 years in a row. I got Sheldon Hodenshield. That would make it 10 for 10.
Yeah, I've got Sheldon Hodenshield as well, and I think it's one of the first times I actually picked Sheldon. You keep riding that horse trying to get
this is sooner or later. Like this is an aggressive racetrack. You got to be aggressive on the thing, and he is. I mean, not saying the other ones aren't, but man, sooner or later he's bound to. I'm bound to get one with him.
Yeah, that'd be wild to see 10 for 10. All right, heading to the Jason Johnson Classic at Arrowhead Speedway. Looks like this is the first time the Outlaws have been here, at least that I can find. That's
it says video a new track for the Outlaws.
Yeah, it looks like another 305 track that they traditionally race on. So what do you see about this track?
They're calling it a 1/3 semi-banked oval, so that's sort of in between, the 3/8 and the bigger half mile. So it's, not a little bull ring like the night before. So this one's going to be another one of those tracks that's going to be interesting how well the track preparation is again on this week. Get these new tracks, not used to running the high horsepower 410s. So it's, I don't know. This is going to be kind of an unknown. This is, I think, a little more experienced racers are probably going to prevail, but I mean, shoot, these guys are all freaking good. It's
and
20,000 to win.
And you might see some drivers from high limit series like Rico himself make a trip out there for that trick.
Yeah,
especially
Rico or Brent Marks or somebody, who knows.
For 20,000 to win, it might be worth the trip going out there.
I think maybe Macri might even be heading that way.
Well, he's off to a strong start at Williams Grove right now, so coming from 17th to win that race, that was a big-time win for him. All right, the Jason Johnson Classic, Arrowhead Speedway. Who are you picking to win this race?
Well, if it's Jason Johnson Classic, I hope I'm not wrong on this one, but pretty sure Carson Macedo runs the Jason Johnson Racing car, so let's have him win, that race.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got definitely the most experienced driver in the field right now. You're talking about experience might pay off in this one. I've got Donnie Schatz. He ran really well at last week. I think he's
running real good this year.
I think you'll start seeing him peel off some wins. If he's already racing consistent, watch out, because the summertime's when he really turns it on. The tracks get hot and slick. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Donnie Schatz has in store for these guys. All right, well, we usually are done with dirt racing, but we do finally have the High Limit Racing Series back in contention. They are at Riverside Speedway on April 9th. So the next episode won't come out till after April 9th. So let's get ahead, talk about Riverside Speedway High Limit Series making their return.
Yeah, this is the start of the what they call it, the midweek money series. 20,000 to win. Kyle Larson's defending champion on this one. Actually, in fact, Ricky Stenhouse is going to be racing sprint cars. This is his home dirt track, so that's pretty cool to see Ricky back in a sprint car. I don't really expect him to do much on, he don't race him enough to just jump in and be super fast. But it's pretty cool to see Ricky back in there.
Now he's going to win.
That would be cool. I'm going to say he is not going to win, but this is going to be another one of them. Right now the high limit's probably got more. I don't exactly how I want to word that. I don't want to say the better drivers, but maybe more
marquee names,
more consistent from all their drivers being about in the same kind of
level playing field. They're all about the same level playing field, and they've all got tremendous talent, and the way the high limit series rules and regulations are, it benefits having even lower budget teams too. So it makes it for better racing. They've raced at Riverside before. Outlaws raced at Riverside. I think All Stars raced at Riverside. It's a great track. Should be good to have high limit back into a consistent weekly basis now. Yeah,
it's been a month and a half or something since they ran, or 2 months, something like that. So that'd be good to. And I'm going to assume Larson's probably going to run that race.
I think he's racing every single one except the very seldom few, like the Indy 500 weekend and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, who are you picking for this one?
Well, when we're discussing, it's not Ricky Stenhouse, but this guy won the Outlaw race last week. I think he's going to be. He's been fast, so far this year. I got Rico Abreu on this one.
Oh man, this is how today's going to go. We're going to have.
Is that how it is?
Yeah, I've got Rico Abreu as well. There's a few you can pick. You
got Brad.
I almost forget that Brad.
I almost forget that Brent Marks.
I kind of forgot that Brad Sweet's racing full time in it too. So.
Yeah, Macri's going to be there.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers they could win, but I feel like the low hanging fruit right now is Rico, I believe. So, all right, well, that does it for the dirt racing segment this week. Finally got a couple series under the belt, and next week, good Lord, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. I believe High Limit's 4 races in a row, and then you got World of Outlaws on top of that. So that's going to be a long dirt racing segment for us.
This episode is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a live entertainment platform rethinking ticketing by caring more about their fans, teams, and venues. They are powering a new open entertainment industries where fans have effortless access to experiences in teams, venues, and shows, and have seamless access to their audiences. With trusted consumer marketplace and innovative enterprise ticketing technology, SeatGeek has what you need for any sporting event. make sure you use my promo code ZBMedia to get $20 off your purchase from SeatGeek. That is ZBMedia from SeatGeek, $20 off. You can't beat that. Check them out now. Get your next concert, sporting event, or anything else from SeatGeek. Back to the show.
NHRA at the Arizona Nationals. Now, the first thing they've got to do, though, and I believe it's Saturday, right before or right after qualify, I can't remember.
It's actually part of their qualifying segment, so they'll just
they're building it within.
And race them and get your
the final round for the 3 series. So you've got Tony Schumacher versus Justin Ashley, which I did not expect Schumacher to make it to a final, at least this early in the year.
He's always one of our favorites.
Yeah, so we got him, those two for the Top Fuel final. John Force and Matt Hagan. John Force already showing some speed early on in the year. And then surprise, Erica Enders versus Dallas Glenn in the Pro Stock. They just got it going on right now at in Erica's camp. So, all right, talk about the Arizona Nationals. I bet it's a little bit different, especially the conditions with a desert as opposed to Pomona, California.
Yeah, well, there's going to be like zero humidity.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Unless I'm there, then I go to the desert and it rains. But
for me, then it snows.
Yeah, last time I was out there, we had the humidity gauge on, and it was reading 6%. So it's crazy dry out there. Things are going to make a ton of power. It's probably not going to be super hot out there yet. And the Phoenix track is tight. It's a fast racetrack. You might, shoot. Tasca's been the top speed guy here lately. You might see him blow a 342 or above this week. So, anything can happen. Hopefully, like at Pomona, for a while, they just could not get down the track. Hopefully, the weather cooperates and everything is, where the track prep's good on both lanes. And you hate to see a drag race where one lane is just such superior to the other one. That makes it just boring as hell.
Well, this is the second of the 3 races that they have for the West Coast Swing before they head back to Charlotte for the 4-wide. They have next week, or in 2 weeks, is the 4-wide at Las Vegas. So there's a couple 4-wides in a row. But all right, let's get into our picks. The top 3 series are only going to be in this. Motorcycles are also not in this one. Like I said, I believe they're not even in the West Coast Swing. They might be at Vegas, but this one they are not. So Pro Stock cars, funny cars, Top Fuel. Go ahead with your picks.
All right. Well, from the final round for Pomona, which we had nothing in these, so
I'm not picking. I wasn't going to pick those, but you can have Adam.
Okay. I was going to pick. I had Justin Ashley over Tony Schumacher, Matt Hagan over John Forrest, and Erica over Dallas Glenn. That would be the final.
I'll just do opposite of you because it seems like I'm copying anyways. I wasn't really gonna pick them, but I'd love to see Tony Schumacher. We've been Tony Schumacher fans for a long time. I got to meet him. I think I was in middle school, and he was in the Army car. So I just think it was really cool, and I'd love to see John Force win. That's a fan favorite, obviously, and. I'd love to see somebody other than Erica win. It's starting to get to almost the Gage Herrera type situation that's going on. If anybody can beat her, I think Dallas Glenn can definitely get it done. He's very talented racer.
He was the number 1 qualifier, but this is such a weird deal. You're finishing that race at a whole different track.
And it's a completely different setup now that you're going to have, and just you just don't know. But all right, so for Arizona, who do you got?
So I got for Pro Stock, Erica's going to double up that day. Or that weekend. So I got Erica. Funny car, I got John Force's teammate, Austin Prott. Get his first win in a funny car. And Top Fuel, I got Steve Torrance.
All right. Well, we are different on all 3 of these.
Right.
So finally. So Pro Stock, I've got David Quadra. He's I believe Erica's teammate, if I'm not mistaken. And he's shown good speed throughout the year. All the Quadra cars have been pretty fast. Funny car, I've got John Force. I think he loses the first one and wins the second one. And the Top Fuel, I've got his daughter. I got Brittany Force in this one. Okay. So Force double up is what I'm going with.
That'd be a popular weekend.
John would be so hyper.
Yeah, he wouldn't understand anything he said.
He'd be more excited, obviously, with Brittany winning.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, so finally, NASCAR heads to the paperclip, Martinsville. And fun fact, I will be there taking the little 5-year-old with me. It'll be the first time that he sees a NASCAR race, so why not take him to one of the most historic racetracks. We've been to Martinsville. It's an awesome, awesome track. Still got that small town feel because it is in a small town, and it's still got the free parking, and it's
that's awesome.
Got the tailgate areas, and it's got everything you want. It's got fan zones. It's a fantastic old school type of racetrack. That's what it's all about. So I'm excited for this one. So sticking in the Martinsville category, the trivia question this week for you: who are the only 2 drivers in NASCAR history to have double-digit wins at Martinsville?
Darrell Waltrip?
Yes. Do you know how many he had?
12?
He had 11.
11.
And who's the other one?
I was almost going to say 11. I was like, his number's 11. Oh, wow. Is it Gordon?
No, I feel like you should know this one easily.
Rusty Wallace?
No, like very obvious who it should be. Who's won the most races?
Richard Petty?
Yeah. Just take a guess how many he has.
Jeez. 14?
15. You're off by one on both of them. There you go. You did okay. It's okay. I'm surprised you didn't pick Richard Petty to start off with. I was impressed that.
I was thinking it had to be somebody newer like Gordon because he seemed like he won there every week there for a while.
I think he had like 8 or 9, something like that.
And I knew DW was really good at those short tracks.
Yeah, that and Bristol, he would whip everybody except Richard. All right, so let's, like we always do, before we give our analysis of the track and our picks for the track, let's dive into our power rankings and NASCAR fantasy this week. So I will do the liberty of starting off with the power rankings and fantasy because, let's both do the power rankings. I'll go first, though, because I feel like everybody thinking I'm copying off of you at this damn point. All right, starting at number 5, I got a big shakeup now after Richmond. Number 5, I've got William Byron following a couple spots. Not great at Richmond, but I mean, he's still likely going to race pretty well at Martinsville this weekend. Christopher Bell stays at number 4 for me. Denny Hamlin, after getting that win at Richmond, moves up to number 3. He was just outside my power ranking top 5. Number 2, I've got the guy that somehow got 3rd. He was the fastest car to start off the race and the first stage and a half, I would say. Kyle Larson's my number 2, and staying at number 1, Martin Truex Jr. is number 1 in my power rankings. Yeah, he was pretty pissed off at the end of the race, but I mean, he was the fastest car. I had pit road issues that kind of cost him the race and restart issues too. But if you see, who I don't have anymore is Ryan Blaney fell out there. Couple races not being up front will do that to you, but I mean, now that I'm saying that, he'll probably go in and end up winning down Martinsville. So who's your top 5 power rankings heading into Martinsville?
All right. At number 5, I didn't have him in last week, but I put Kyle Larson in at number 5. At 4, I kept it the same. I got Martin Truex Jr. at 4. I couldn't see bumping him even as fast as he was. It's hard to make him go ahead. At the same number 3, I got Denny Hamlin. Hard to put Truex ahead of him. Hamlin won. Here's where I got the shake-up a little bit. Number 2, I bumped Ryan Blaney down 1 notch. So Ryan Blaney's at number 2. I said it's going to take a couple races for him just to,
Yeah.
This one, like you had him just coming into your top 5, I've got him up from number 2. I have William Byron. His race at Richmond was sort of one of those Harvick-type races. It's like you didn't hear anything from him, and all of a sudden at the end, boom, he's in the top solidly, top 10. I think about 6th or something like that.
All right, well, I mean, similar drivers, but yeah. It's definitely interesting for sure. All right, so going into our NASCAR fantasy lineups for this week, newsflash, I pretty much copy and pasted from last week because these are very similar consistent drivers at this track as to Richmond. So here's my starters for this week. Again, I'm going to have to go with some non-amazing drivers coming up. But this time I'm not making it happen.
I got 2 new ones in this week.
The garage is different. That's it. So my starting lineup, I've got Kyle Larson. He is last year's winner of this race. You can win on Sunday if you want, Larson. Please, I'll be there. And my son would love to see you do a burnout the entire track. That'll be badass in person. All right, the next one I've got Martin Truex Jr. They call it Martinsville for a reason. Denny Hamlin, he's great at Martinsville too. All the Richmond tracks he's great at. I got Christopher Bell in, William Byron, and my garage is Joey Logano. That's the only difference that I have this week is Joey Logano in my garage. All right, for the feature matchups this week, they have Denny Hamlin versus Martin Truex Jr. I'm going to give the slight edge to Martin Truex Jr. this week, and if it comes down to the two of them, I'm very curious to see what happens. Ryan Blaney versus William Byron. I know Blaney won it last in the fall to punch his ticket to Phoenix, but I've got William Byron. I think all the Hendrick cars, you just have a little extra motivation this week with the Ruby 40th anniversary cars. I think you'll see them all. I swear if they're all in like the top 4, I won't even know who's who because they all pretty much look the same.
They all look alike.
Yeah, and then next one is Chase Briscoe versus Noah Gragson. I gave the slight edge to Noah Gragson. I don't really have a reason. I think Noah can.
Noah's been running pretty decent.
Yeah, I think he's able to save. He'll be able to save his equipment and race it smart, and at least be able to beat Chase Briscoe. So, and also the last one, Joey Logano versus Kyle Busch. I've got Joey Logano. Kyle Busch has just not been running well lately. It's obviously not lack of talent. It's lack of he pissed somebody off the racing gods or something because he's the worst absolute luck of the last couple of weeks.
That car's been shit though too. It has not handled well at all.
Yeah, he's not happy. So, and Austin Dillon actually has changed crew chiefs and car chiefs, I believe. So they're making changes there already. So I would not be shocked if they make some changes to Kyle Busch if stuff keeps happening there. All right, go ahead with your lineups this week.
All right, our featured lineups are exactly the same.
Oh, fantastic! Look at that. You're copying
but our starters are not.
Okay.
So new this week, I put in Josh Berry. Short track racer.
He had a great race at Richmond.
Yep. So I have not run him yet this year, so I got him in. And in this week new is Alex Bowman. Also had a pretty good run going. It's hard to not put a Hendrick car, in there. I also have Joey Logano in my top 5, Chase Elliott, William Byron, and my garage is Ross Chastain.
I thought you were about to put just all the damn Hendricks up in there.
No, I'm not putting Larson in because I just jinxed him, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Well, I did pick him to win last week, and he spun out and ended up 3rd. So I don't really know if I technically jinxed him. I don't know. All right. Well, if anybody was wondering the good bets they have this week, take this with a grain of salt because it's never right. Ryan Blaney's a good bet, they say. I mean, you're going out on a limb there, the Vegas. Joey Logano's a good bet, and I really agree with that one. I think Joey's going to have a good race. He had a little bit of a slump for a couple races.
Yeah, he runs pretty good at Martinsville.
Yeah, he does. It says avoid Tyler Reddick once again. They just don't like him, I guess. I don't even know where he ran at Richmond. I didn't even I don't remember. It says avoid Daniel Suarez. I'd agree with that one. I do agree with that one. He does not run very great at Martinsville. And they said a sleeper is Chase Briscoe. So, I mean, that's, of course, going to happen because now I picked Noah over him. So there's our NASCAR fantasy lineup for this week for all of you. And make sure you pick my stuff because apparently I've been making stuff happen in it now. I'm trying to make a little bit of ground because now you got to eventually go to some crap shoots coming up. And then I probably won't have any of these drivers in those, like Talladega.
Talladega, I'm not putting any good driver in.
I'm gonna put some random ass. I'm gonna find some random ass driver that's making a 37th car to be in the field and just pick that person. Why not? We'll get that in a few weeks. All right, so heading into Martinsville, what do you want to talk about this track? It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup Series.
Well, stupid Cup is not racing Saturday night under the lights. That's just dumb.
I know that would be cooler behind you.
Yeah, run trucks Friday night, Xfinity Saturday early, and then the Cup race Saturday night.
But I will say, to bring a 5-year-old to a Sunday afternoon race
for
would be a
you,
lot
yeah,
better.
you're better off this way.
Manali says the start time's not until 3:15. Like, who does the 3:15 start on it? Like, just start it at 1 right now. There's nothing else going on in the world. Like, just start it at 1. Damn. I don't care if they're asleep in the West Coast or in Uzbekistan. Like, come on now. But yeah, so
Martinsville's
Martinsville,
a fun little track.
yeah,
As you can kind of see if you've never seen it, the straightaways are asphalt, the corners are concrete. They did that because just the G forces those cars put on there would tear up the asphalt. They just couldn't handle it, so they just did the concrete. Now they have been putting down some kind of traction compound in one of the grooves. I believe it's usually the upper groove because the bottom's generally the fast way around.
yeah, to try to make it 2 lanes.
So it's hard to say what the hell they're going to do with this one, or hopefully they don't put that resin shit that tore up tires. But it's one of those things that's kind of, you're going to see the bump and run. They're going to come off the corner, or going into the corner. You're going to give them a little nudge, slide them up. I mean, the object is not to crash them unless you're Truex and Denny Hamlin, and gloves are
Joey
off.
Logano, Matt
Give them a
Kenseth.
little shove, get them to the second groove, and shoot under it. And then depending on how close race it is, you might lose 5-6 spots till you get back down again.
And let's talk about this part of it. And you saw some of this issue at Richmond was the brake rotors, how hot they can get. There's 500 laps, and you are hitting those brakes every 2.5 seconds, basically. So
Yeah.
talk about how that can affect these races.
I think you're going to see bigger issues on the brakes with the Xfinity cars because they only have a 15-inch wheel, so you got quite a bit smaller brake package in there compared to the Cup cars with an 18-inch wheel. You got much bigger rotors and brake calipers in there. But if you look at the front of the cars, there's going to be all kinds of open holes, and that's all air blowing into the brakes. You get the brakes hot. First thing they're going to do, they're going to start chattering. So then you're going to the corner. If you've ever had where your passenger car hit the brakes and it feels like you're going bump, 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 bump. That's imagine doing that at 100 and some miles an hour, trying to make a 180-degree turn. That's really, really tough on the equipment. Tires don't want to stick when they're doing that. So you got to mind the brake rotors, and then you get the guys say they have slight electrical problems. First thing they do, they turn off all the fans to the brake rotors to the everything else. So it's but you're going to see the trucks and the Xfinity cars. You're going to see those rotors glowing Friday and Saturday night, which is pretty cool. Seeing them going into the corner, you know exactly when they hit the brakes, so they light up cherry red. Pull into the pits. There might be rubber buildup. The things will catch on fire. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting for sure. Like I said, we kind of get cheated out of a Cup race at nighttime. I don't even know if they are doing a Cup race this year at nighttime at Martinsville. They'll do the one in the fall where it might end sort of under the lights, but
Yeah.
at least the spring race should be. I agree with you. And I've always been for a doubleheader Saturday. You get an afternoon Xfinity, then everybody piles in for the Cup race at Saturday night. And maybe the reason they don't do that is because there's some drivers that are going to do double duty. Boo-hoo. Sorry, don't do double duty. Just look at your calendar when that comes out.
No, it's just, Saturday night racing would be.
It's just cool. It's just cool. It's just freaking cool.
Yeah, it's like you go there, you got a Sunday rain date, and you can go the weekend, don't have to worry about, getting back for work on Monday morning. It's just,
the good thing
between Easter and the Sunday night race at Richmond, that place was just empty.
Well, the good thing is that it's not going to race this weekend. It's a beautiful week, all week up in Martinsville. I never luck out like this. So,
yeah, we were actually on that one time and it snowed out.
Yeah, about the same time too. It's just been warm lately. The biggest news this week in Xfinity: Carson Kvapil's making his Xfinity Series debut. If you don't know who that is, he is Travis Kvapil's son, and he is a star of the Cars late model series that Dale Jr. co-owns with Kevin Harvick, and he has made a name for himself there. Great at the smaller tracks. I expect big things out of him, and I would expect him to be in the Xfinity Series full-time coming up.
Yeah. I forget how old he is. He's like
20.
Oh, is he 20? Oh, so he
He's
is old
20.
enough to run all the bigger tracks. So I guess they'll start him off on the small. And this track means a lot to Junior too. So this is a great place to break him in, and he's used to running the short tracks, just like how Josh Berry went right to Martinsville and was fast right off the bat. And
Junior's got a
won
plan.
in the Cup car, second time out or whatever, in the Cup car at Martinsville.
Yeah, Junior's definitely got a plan, and it wouldn't surprise me if this is the last year for Justin Allgaier. He's getting a little older. He's not old, but it wouldn't be surprised if he steps down from full-time racing, and he might race part-time for Junior, and then Carson kind of takes over that car. We'll see what happens there, but let's get into the Truck Series picks, and let's go on from there. Who you got for the Truck Series Friday night under the lights at Martinsville?
Friday night, so trucks, I don't know. It seems to be a crapshoot. You got 3 or 4 trucks that seem to have a shot at winning every race. One thing though, I want to mention that Truck Series, I don't remember. I think it was Tanner Gray. There's Tanner and Taylor Gray, but it made the first start in Xfinity for Joe Gibbs.
I think Taylor. I think it was
Whichever
Taylor.
was the younger one. I don't remember which one it was.
I think
but
Taylor.
he had an awesome run. I mean, that shows you how fast those cars are. But I did not pick him. I got Christian Eckes for Friday night. Are you serious?
So do I. Okay, cool. All right.
I changed it from Ben Rose to Christian Eckes to
there is no chance
Sanchez.
There's no chance you have my Xfinity pick though. So you don't go ahead with your Xfinity.
Justin Allgaier.
Okay, well you don't. I have the same race organization, but a guy that's kind of under the radar. I think he can make some progress here, and hopefully he can win for me and then make me look smart. I got Brandon Jones.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Sam Mayer.
No, I've already picked him and let me down, so let's see with another one. All right, the Cup Series on Sunday afternoon that I will be in attendance for right off of turn 4, so I'm excited for that one. So who do you got?
Hard to go against the 24 car at Martinsville. I got William Byron.
I feel like that was a common conversation you had last year. It's like literally the same line, too. I don't know. I think you said that in the the fall race. My pick is Martin Truex Jr. for Martinsville. I hope it doesn't happen. Larson win because I'm
Mom's
there.
pick is Larson.
Well, she has been pretty good at. Well, you did pick last week's winner, so kind of bounces around. I don't know if I've got a Cup Series winner this year, right? So that's fantastic.
I think that's the first one for me. I think I got an Xfinity win or drop.
You had like literally every other series before. I think it was the week before. So.
Oh, I should have had them, and all of a sudden they decided to crash at the end.
Yeah, but the good news is I'm still winning in fantasy, so that's the important thing. All right,
I'm still last, so.
So we're gonna go back into a top 5 next week. I like the every other week thing, so it gives me time to think about it. Next week for a top 5 that we are going to do, the 5 biggest rivalries in motorsports history.
Okay, that's a pretty cool one. I like that one.
All right.
Let me put that in my notes so I don't forget.
So while he's doing that, everybody, I want to announce that we have a special episode coming out later this week. Make sure you tune into the channel and wherever you follow the podcast. We have the executive director of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, Bob Baker, joined us this week. Bonus episode coming out Friday. Great conversation. If you're like anything about sprint car racing history in general, that is an episode you definitely want to check out.
Yeah, that was
Bob is
very informative.
He's a wealth of knowledge. It was very, very interesting. We were very excited to welcome him on the show and to let us know what you all think about that one. So make sure you comment down below about our top 5 for next week. Remember, top 5 biggest rivalries in motorsports history, not just NASCAR, all of motorsports. And make sure you follow anywhere you get your podcast, all social media platforms. Check the YouTube channel out. A bunch of stuff on there. Look for the bonus episodes that drop periodically with awesome special guests. And I guess till then, we will see you guys next week.
Yep. See you all later.